Good evening, Troop 318. This is Miss Martin. And what I'd like to do today is kind of show you our greenhouse that we have at the high school. We have a great college level greenhouse. It's considered a lean-to greenhouse because this greenhouse, it leans to the structure to our school. So the brick building, and then you see the frame outward, which is a polycarbonate frame. And inside we have all our plants that we learn from all school year. And then second semester we actually grow all of our bedding plants that we then sell at our plant sale. Now if you were here last week, if I would have taken our video then, there would be no space for any extra plants. All these benches would be covered. The benches on the left-hand side would cover about close to 5,000 plants. Now these systems over here, it's called an ebb and flood bed. They actually move, and they move so they can acquire more space. So I have 4 benches over here, and I can move them, and if I want to get in between, I just kind of gently push them, pull them, and then I can walk in between. Now these benches are kind of cool because they have a self-watering system. So I have a large basin at the bottom here with an aquarium pump, and when I push the button, the automatic system, water comes up through the basin and then literally floods out these benches. When I do that, it allows each plant to be watered equally. They're watered from the bottom upward, and this gives each plant, if you were to water from top, sometimes the flowers would get damaged. So if we water from the bottom, all the root systems are getting the water that they need. So you can see this is a nice, healthy impatient. The root system here looks great. It looks just enough. It looks like this plant wants to go out and be planted into a new planter or into the ground. The roots themselves here are nice and white. They smell fresh. And if I were to just kind of go around it, they just look like a nice healthy system. If you were ever to have a planter or maybe a plant that's not looking too well, one of the first things I would say was, hey, maybe it's time to repot them. And if you do repot them, then you can see if the root system is looking good or kind of rough. And that's why I came over to my spider plants over here. Spiders, they grow fast. And you have to, let me try to get one here for you. These spider plants grow fast, and you can see actually how large the root system can get at one time. So here you can see the root system here, much thicker. You can tell that they're full of water. And this one looks good still. Like I'd still keep it in this 4-inch pot for a little bit longer. It's healthy, it smells fresh. Sometimes you would see these roots and they actually look yellow or kind of soggy. So this is a nice, healthy plant. Okay. The spider plant too, we'll get into this later on. They do sprout little pups through asexual propagation and through cuttings. So I'm actually going to give you guys a spider plant too to work with. Okay, so here, let me just turn on the water system for a second. And I did that purposely so you can see the water coming up. Okay. So here's your water system. Usually it's not going to be a fountain like this, but you can see how the water does come up from the basin, and then it would flood the entire bed. So I can come in here during the work day, during the teaching day, turn on our beds, and then I don't have to really worry about watering these plants. In here you can see our goldfish that we have. So this is part of an aquaponics system where we take care of the goldfish, and then whatever they give off actually fertilizes the plants above. Plus they're just kind of fun to be with. The second section over here, these are all stationary benches. So I have 3 stationary benches. They do not move, it's steel. If you look down, I have a nice cement floor with a grate below, so if I water, excess water is going to go into the grate. The plants on my right-hand side, these are all my teaching plants that we use. A lot of them are about 4 or 5 years old. This plant right here is my oldest plant that I've had. It's called a cathedral cactus, and I've had this one for 18 years. And it started out from a cutting from a friend of mine. I just took a cutting off like this. I just kind of picked it off, wrapped it up in some wet paper towel, and was able to root it. And 18 years later, I have this beautiful cathedral cactus. So that's one of the best things with plants, is that you can share them. We'll talk more about propagation and how you can take cuttings from certain plants and share, or if you just want an extra one. Also, your plants have stories. This plant, I know where I received it from a roommate of mine, and I always think of that when I look and talk about this plant. So if you ever take clippings on vacation, or if you're going on vacation and want to take a souvenir home, you could always take a plant, and that's something that'll last for a long time. So a giant aloe. You guys will all be receiving an aloe plant, and it will get this big and larger. These are all done by cuttings. This is a wandering Jew. While I'm back here, I'm going to show you how we cool the greenhouse. This is called a wall chiller. This is brand new, just put in for us about maybe a month ago. So greenhouses, they get hot, and we don't have an air conditioner that's going to come in and cool down this entire building. We have some cooling, but what this does is takes the air from the outside. If you look back here, we have the windows, and I have the windows open when it comes time. It's on an automatic system. And I have a water system that's part of the chiller. So air is drawn in from the outside, then it's being pulled out from the other side. I have another large fan, so this air is being pulled all the way through the greenhouse. And at the same time, I have water in here. So the air is treated with the water, and you have a nice cool breeze. This cool breeze cools down the greenhouse. So if you're kind of hot in the greenhouse, you can come on over here, and just kind of a nice cool breeze to cool you down. So this would be considered the coolest part of our greenhouse. And if you go on the far side where it's a little more sunny, that's where I have my succulents, my aloe, the plants that need all the heat that they can get. They thrive on heat. This bench over here we call the propagation bench. Each plant on here can be propagated or divided by a cutting. I have a couple different series of assortments of Wandering Jew. This is called Mary's Heart, real pretty. It has a nice purple flower to it. Here we go. Okay, I can make a cutting of this plant by just cutting it off. Taking one little clipping, then all I would do is place it then into like a 4-inch pot of soil. Couple weeks, you have your own new plant. Now I've given you clippings of this type of Wandering Jew. This is a fuzzy type one. And truly, all that I did to give you a clipping in your tray that you're getting tonight, I'll cut it off. Okay, and I'll talk more about this tomorrow. We're together. I'll pull off a couple of the bottom leaves. Now you can focus. You can place this into water, and it'll root by water, or you can just place it into the soil. In a couple weeks, you will see the roots coming in. But these are great plants. They grow crazy. And even if you like make a mistake, like if you bump your plant and a piece falls off, you can just stick it right back in. It'll root and it'll just make your plant root even fuller. These are called Mother of Thousand plants. Kind of look like a little shop of horror plant, crazy. But all these little guys, these are little florets on top. That if I were to just plant this little guy, it would grow a new plant. So you can even look at the bottoms of many of these planters where the little florets have fallen. And new plants have started. And I can pull these little guys up. And you can see the root system. And I just repot it, just like that. They don't need anything, they just kind of go. My grate system below, I always have to clean it out because the florets, they fall inside. These are Mother of Thousands that had just fallen into a snake plant and they're thriving. Probably just repot that. But these are called Sansevieria or snake plant. They also grow by pups. They have a horizontal rhizome that kind of just jets outward and up. So if I were to pull these guys out, what's cool about them is they have an orange root. And you can see here, a brand new rhizome is starting. So this root is going to come up through the soil, and then you're going to have another shoot of this snake plant. It's kind of fun. Snake plants like to be real kind of tight. They grow tall. They don't need a lot of light, a lot of sunlight, but they will thrive on it. More of my spider plants. Over here I have my succulents and the cactus. This is one of the hottest part of the greenhouse and the sunniest parts. This is where they thrive. You can see some of the cactuses are actually leaning towards the sunlight. A new section of this guy. These are all succulents that were grown here. Just by a little piece of the succulent. And I'm giving you guys all succulent to work with.